أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم
पनाह मांगता हूँ अल्लाह की शैतान मरदूद से।
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
अल्लाह के नाम से जो रहमान और रहीम है।
Assalamu alaikum brothers and sisters, and welcome to my show Future Stars. I'm your host Alvia Zaidi, and coming up in the next few weeks we have special events involving Imam Taqi alayhi salam and Imam Naqi alayhi salam. And Imam Naqi alayhi salam is Imam Taqi alayhi salam's son. So we decided today that we will be talking about both of our Imams, that they are our 9th and our 10th Imams, and we'll just be giving you an insight onto their life, their characteristics, and also giving you a few teachings that they said. And joining me today we have Brother Ali and Sister Sani, and they'll be joining in, sharing a few stories and also answering a few questions to give you some facts about these two Imams that we'll be talking about today. So to start off, Brother Ali will be reading for us a few sayings from Imam Taqi alayhi salam.
A man came to Imam and said, "Scold me." He replied, "Oppose with wishes of your heart, because you are continuously under the observation of God. The best faithful is the one whose morality is best of all, whose ever depends on God. God saves him from every evil."
MashaAllah, thank you very much, and thank you very much for sharing those powerful sayings with us. And they were just a few sayings giving us a few guidelines on how we could be living our lives, such as the second one that Brother Ali shared with us. He said that the best faithful is the one whose morality is best of all, which can show to us that being moral and being caring towards others is showing us as the best personality of them all. So now we're going to move on to a story that Sister Sani has for us, and this is just going to explain an event that's occurred during the life of Imam Taqi alayhi salam, and it's just going to explain about fearing no one other than Allah.
The story of Ma'mun al-Rashid's first meeting with the young son of Imam Ali Rida is interesting. Once when our 9th Imam, Imam Taqi alayhi salam, was only 9 years old, he was walking down a street of Baghdad when Ma'mun al-Rashid and his soldiers came by. All the other children on the street ran away, but Imam Taqi did not. Noting this, Ma'mun stopped his carriage and asked, "Young man, why did you not run away like the other children?" Imam Taqi replied calmly, "Neither had I committed crime, nor was I blocking the way. Why should I have run away or be afraid? And I also know that you will not cause any unnecessary trouble when your way is not blocked." Ma'mun was surprised with this mature reply and asked, "What is your name?" "Muhammad," came to the reply. "Whose son are you?" asked Ma'mun. "Son of Imam Ali Rida." Ma'mun rode on. During his hunt, the hawk returned to him with a fish in its beak. Ma'mun was surprised. He returned back towards the city once again. He found children playing on the same spot, who ran away seeing the Caliph's soldiers, except this young man who said he was Muhammad's son of Imam Ali Rida, who remained where he was. Ma'mun hid the fish in his palm, stopped his carriage near Imam Taqi and said, "Tell me, what is there in my fist?" Imam Taqi replied, "Allah has created tiny fish in the river. The hawks of kings sometimes catch fish from there and bring it to the kings. They hide it in their fist and ask a member of the Ahlul Bayt of the Prophet Tell me what is there in my fist. Mamun said, Truly you are the worthy son of Imam Ali Raza. Mamun al-Rashid took the young Imam Taqi with him and let him live in a nearby house next to the royal palace. Moral: you should not be scared of anything or anyone, as Allah is the strongest and will look after you.
MashaAllah, thank you very much, and thank you very much for sharing that story with us. It was very well read. So this story just shows that Imam Taqi alayhi salam, even at a very young age, was only afraid of Allah. And Mamun Rashid, the person mentioned in the story, was the king at the time of Imam Taqi alayhi salam. And it shows that even for the king, Imam Taqi would not move out the way because he knew that he hadn't done anything wrong. And I'm sure that many of you, even me, would move out the way if a king or a queen or maybe even a teacher at school was walking past. So this just shows the piety that Imam Taqi alayhi salam had. So now we're going to move on to a quick story that Brother Ali has for us, and this is about another event that occurred during the youth of Imam Taqi alayhi salam, and this is explaining about Imam Taqi alayhi salam's understanding that Allah can give you much more than what the world has to offer.
When our ninth Imam, Imam Taqi alayhi salam, was only 9 years old, his father, our eighth Imam, Imam Ali Rida alayhi salam, was killed by the king. The king decided that he would try to buy Imam Taqi alayhi salam into his way of life, because Imam Taqi was still only a child. He took Imam Taqi to his place and gave him whatever money could buy, but Imam Taqi alayhi salam was not interested because he knew Allah could give him much more. No matter how much the king gave him, Imam Taqi alayhi salam did not do anything against Allah's commands as the king had wished. Moral: whatever anyone gives, you always remember that Allah can give you so much more, but only if you are a good Muslim and do as Allah tells you.
MashaAllah, thank you very much, and thank you very much for sharing that story with us. And MashaAllah, it's very well read. And from this story, we can learn that Imam Taqi alayhi salam knew that Allah can give much more, and He is the most beneficial. And so, to all my little future stars, whether you're 9, like Imam Taqi alayhi salam in the story was, whether you're 8, maybe 10, maybe younger or even older, you too can understand the fact that Allah can give you much more than the world has to offer. So before we continue with another story that occurred during the life of Imam Taqi alayhi salam, I'd just like to mention that if anybody would like to phone in, the number's at the bottom of your screen, and you can call in to maybe ask a question about today's topic, maybe share your thoughts, or maybe even recite something. So the number's at the bottom of your screen. So now we're going to move on to talk about the youth of Imam Taqi alayhi salam, and it's just going to explain a bit about how young he was when he was an Imam. Our ninth Imam, Imam Taqi alayhi salam, had an uncle who was a very knowledgeable and a pious old man. Whenever he went to the mosque, people would surround him and ask him questions. One day, Imam Taqi alayhi salam arrived at the mosque. When his uncle, who was sitting in the middle of a large group of people, saw him, he immediately got up and greeted Imam Taqi alayhi salam. Imam Taqi alayhi salam asked his uncle to sit down, to which his uncle replied that he could not sit while Imam Taqi was standing. When his uncle returned amongst his friends, after Imam Taqi alayhi salam had left, his friends told him that it was wrong for him to show so much respect to that child, Imam Taqi alayhi salam, as he was an old man and the uncle of the child. He replied that he was showing respect to the child because of who he was. He continued that imamate is given by Allah, and Allah considered the child capable for it. Therefore, they should all obey Imam Taqi alayhi salam's commands. The moral is, the age of a person is not important, but what kind of person they are. Only Allah knows everything about everyone, and therefore only Allah is allowed to judge people and say what they do and do not deserve. The stories showed that although Imam Taqi was younger than his uncle still respected him because he was the Imam. And this can teach us to respect everybody no matter what age they are or who they are, because only Allah is aware of their deeds and only Allah can judge them. So that was just another story explaining about an event that occurred during the life of Imam Taqi and also giving us a few more teachings. So now we're going to move on to a few questions. And first of all, I'd like to ask Brother Ali, what were Imam Taqi titles?
His titles were Taqi and Al-Jawad.
MashaAllah, thank you very much. And Sister Sani, which Imam is he?
He's our 9th Imam.
MashaAllah, thank you very much. So those were just a few questions just to give us a few facts about Imam Taqi. And now we're going to move on to our next Imam that we're talking about for today, and we're going to be talking about Imam Naqi, which is the son of Imam Taqi. And just to start off, Sister Sani will read us a saying that Imam Naqi said to all his followers.
This life is the market in which some people gained and others lost. Do not expect honesty and pureness of meaning from someone who has suffered from your meanness. Do not believe loyalty from one to whom you have been untrue. Do not accept kindness from someone whom you look with ill will, as his heart towards you is the same as your heart towards him.
Mashallah, thank you very much, and thank you very much for sharing that saying with us. So that's just another very powerful saying which can also teach us and give us a guideline on how we should be living our life, and it shows that we're not always going to be treated kindly in life, but we should always try to treat others with kindness and care for other people and show them respect. So that was just a quick saying by Imam Naqi. And just to explain about who Imam Naqi is, I have a story here which just gives an event occurred during the life of Imam Naqi and explain his age as well. So Imam Naqi assumed the official role of Imam at the very young age of 7 or 8, just like his father. At that tender age, he had become a point of reference for all Muslims. People would refer to him and seek his guidance in almost everything affecting to their lives. When the enemies of the Ahlul Bayt saw this, they were annoyed with the situation. So in union with the king at the time, which was in opposition of the Ahlul Bayt, they began looking for a person who was the most knowledgeable of the time, yet a sworn enemy of the Ahlul Bayt. So that Imam Naqi is put under his care for training, and the Muslims do not get any access from him. Also, anything that Imam Naqi said or did in his life would be according to the teachings that he had received from the enemy of the Ahlul Bayt. Finally, a prominent scholar from Iraq and a sworn enemy of the Ahlul Bayt was appointed for the task. The man took the 10th Imam, Imam Naqi into his care and did not allow any Muslims to visit him. This way, the guidance of Imam Naqi was suspended for his followers. After some time, a person went to the scholar and asked him, "How is the servant doing?" The man, a sworn enemy of the family of the Prophet, became extremely furious with the man and said to him, "Do not call him a servant, for he is not a servant, but a leader. By Allah, despite his young age, he is more knowledgeable than I am. People think that I am disciplining him, but the truth is, he is disciplining me. I swear by Allah, to be precise, he is the best of all on the face of this earth." The moral is, Imams have a supreme knowledge so that they are able to answer whatever question they are given. What age you are does not matter and how much you know, but only how much you know matters. People will treat you like a child unless you can show them otherwise, through your knowledge and your character. So this story explained about the piety of any Imam in more depth, and it also links back to a story read earlier about Imam Taqi knowledge and piety. And it shows that it links back to how it doesn't matter how old you are, you can still respect each other, and depending on who you are. So that was just to explain Imam Naqi alayhi salam a bit more clearly. And now we're going to move on to another story that Sister Sani has for us. And this is about the respect of Imam Naqi in childhood.
There was a great scholar in the days of our 10th Imam, Imam Naqi alayhi salam. Once a person who curses the Ahlul Bayt had a debate with this scholar, and the scholar defeated him through the Quranic verses and prophetic traditions. One day, the scholar came into a gathering, and Imam Naqi was also present. In the center of that gathering, Imam Naqi was seated, and there was a huge pillar placed at that spot. As soon as Imam Naqi saw the scholar, he rose from his place and asked the scholar to come forward until Imam Naqi made him sit next to him and offered him the pillow to relax. One old man did not like this, so he complained, saying, "O son of Prophet Muhammad, how can you give preference to an ordinary person over someone who belongs to the progeny of Abu Talib and Abbas?" When the Imam Naqi heard this, he was extremely furious with the old man and started quoting verses from the Noble Quran. To prove the supremacy of a scholar over everyone else, Imam Naqi asked the people present there, Do you believe that the commands of Allah in the Noble Quran?" They all said yes. Then Imam Naqi said, "Hasn't Allah said, Allah will raise those who have faith and those who have been given knowledge and rank? Then why are you people trying to stop me from giving preference to one who has been preferred by Allah? This scholar has utilized his knowledge, which Allah has blessed him, and defeated our enemies with it. This act is better than any family ties and relation in my eyes."
Mashallah, thank you very much, and thank you very much for sharing that story with us. And from this story, we can learn that even though Imam Naqi alayhi salam was much more pious and knowledgeable than the scholar mentioned in the story, he still respected him as a normal person and allowed him to sit with him on using the pillow. So now we're going to move on to a quick break, and after the break we'll be talking a bit more about Imam Naqi alayhi salam, and then we'll move on to our craft. So join us after the break to learn a bit more. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters, and welcome back to Future Stars. I'm your host, Alvia Zaidi. Now, let me just reintroduce my guests, and then we can move on to what we've been doing on the show previously. So joining me today, we have Brother Ali and Sister Sani, and previously on the show, they've been joining in with reading out stories and answering questions, just to give us a few facts on our topic today. And our topic is Imam Taqi alayhi salam and Imam Naqi alayhi salam. And we're on at the moment, we're reading stories about Imam Naqi alayhi salam. So I'll just start off with a story talking about Imam Naqi alayhi salam's knowledge and judgment. So during the time of the king, a lady claimed that she was Bibi Zainab alayhi salam. The king said, "Many long years have passed since the time that Zainab lived, and you are quite young." She replied, "Yes, but Prophet Muhammad drew his hand upon my head and prayed for me to remain young forever. As such, after every 40 years, I turned back to become young." The man called upon all the wise men to visit him and inquired from them, "What do you say about this claim of this woman?" All of them said, "She tells a lie." He said, "I know she is lying, but what proof and logic do you have to condemn her?" They said, "We do not know. Imam Naqi alayhi salam should solve this problem." The king at once summoned Imam Naqi alayhi salam and told him about the matter. Imam Naqi alayhi salam said, "Send her to the cage of lions. If she is telling the truth, because the beasts do not attack the children of Fatima, alayhi salam, and do not eat their flesh. The man said to the woman, "What do you say?" She said, "If this man wishes that I may be killed, if he is right, then let him do it himself." The king said, "She is right. You must do it first yourself." Imam Naqi alayhi salam replied, "There is no problem to it." He went to the lion's cage and sat among them. All observed with amazement that the lions sat very respectfully before Imam Naqi alayhi salam. When Imam Naqi alayhi salam ordered that they might move to a corner, all of them crept to a nook. Then Imam Naqi alayhi salam came out of the cage and went to the king and said to the woman, "Now it is your turn." The woman started crying and begging, saying, "I told a lie. I am the daughter of such and such man, and I wanted to play a trick and a hoax, but it did not work." So this story just shows about the knowledge of Imam Naqi alayhi salam, and also that he knew that the lions would not attack an imam or family of the Prophet, so he used that to show proof, and it also emphasizes the piety of imams. So now we're going to move on to a few more questions, and these are just to give you a few facts about the imams spoken about today. And first of all, I'd like to ask Brother Ali, which imam is Imam Naqi alayhi salam?
Imam Naqi is our 10th Imam.
MashaAllah, thank you very much. And Sister Sani, what were his titles?
His titles were Al-Naqi and Al-Hadi.
MashaAllah, thank you very much. So those are just a few facts about Imam Naqi alayhi salam. And now we're going to move on to a story that Sister Sunny will be reading for us today, and this is another event that occurred during the life of Imam Naqi alayhi salam, and it's about attending the distressed.
Once a man went terrified and trembling to see our 10th Imam, Imam Naqi, and said, "O the son of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, I am at the verge and threshold of death. You help my family." Imam Naqi asked him as to what was the matter. The man said, One of the courtiers of Abbasid Caliphate has given me a gem to engrave a design upon it. During the work, the gem broke into 2 pieces. Tomorrow he will send someone to collect the gem. If he comes to know about the matter, he will kill me. Imam Naqi bent his head downwards. Then he raised it, saying, "I prayed for you. Be satisfied, no harm will reach you from him. Instead, this work will end to your benefit. Get up and go. You will face no trouble tomorrow." The next day, the man moved towards the house of that man with trembling legs, along with one of the officials debuted. Not very long afterwards, the owner of the house arrived and said, "O worker, it was settled that you engraved a design over that gem, but 2 of my daughters have a conflict upon this gem. If it is possible, break the gem into 2 pieces and engrave the design in each of the 2 parts of it. I will give you a reward too for that." The man said, Permit me to think about this matter." He came out of that place and returned happily to Imam Naqi alayhi salam and expressed his gratitude and thankfulness over the kindness he had shown to him. Moral: no matter what trouble you are faced with, always trust in Allah and ask for His help, as He can make anything happen.
MashaAllah, thank you very much, and thank you very much for sharing that story with us. So just another quick story explaining about an event that occurred during the life of Imam Naqi alayhi salam, and it also shows that Allah is all merciful and will help anybody who asks. So to all my little future stars, if you're ever in a time of need, it's very important that you pray to Allah and ask Him for His help, because He will surely help you. So now we're going to move on to another story about Imam Naqi alayhi salam and the king at the time. And previously we've heard that the king at the time wasn't very nice to Imam Naqi alayhi salam, and this event shows you what Imam Naqi alayhi salam said to the king. During the time of our 10th Imam, Imam Naqi alayhi salam, and the cruel king fell very ill. The doctors could not make him better. His mother was very sad and asked Imam Naqi alayhi salam to help him. Imam Naqi told her what medicine to use to make her son better, and when she used what Imam Naqi alayhi salam had told her to, the man became very well again. All the doctors were very surprised. Although the king was a cruel, bad man towards Imam Naqi alayhi salam, Imam Naqi still helped him, because his mother had come to him for help. The moral is, if anyone asks you for your help, you should help them, even if they're not very nice. So this story just shows that Imam Naqi alayhi salam would help anybody, and also, as I said earlier, that the king wasn't very nice to Imam Naqi alayhi salam, but Imam Naqi still helped him, so it shows that we should be helping people even though if they're not very nice to us, because we should be helping and caring to everybody. So now we're going to move on to a caller that we have on the line. So hello, assalamu alaikum.
Okay. My name is Mr. and I live in Birmingham. I would like to recite Surah Al-Kawthar.
Okay, well, mashallah, please start whenever you're ready.
But I said, Inna Al-Kawthar, Salim Mobika one says, Inna Shada will others. Good afternoon.
Mashallah, thank you very much, and mashallah is beautifully recited, and thank you very much for calling in. And mashallah, if anybody else would like to phone in, the number's at the bottom of your screen, and you too can recite something like our last caller did, or you could ask a question, or maybe even share your thoughts about today's topic, so the number's at the bottom of your screen. So now we're going to move on to a few questions, and first of all I'd like to ask, Brother Ali, what age did Imam Taqi alayhi salam and Imam Naqi alayhi salam gain their imamate?
I think it was the age of 7 or 8.
MashaAllah, thank you very much. And Sister Sani, what can we learn from Imam Taqi alayhi salam and Imam Naqi alayhi salam's life?
We can learn how to care for others and how to fear only Allah. We can also learn to believe that Allah is the sole provider of everything, and that we should always be kind to each other.
MashaAllah, thank you very much, and thank you very much for answering those questions. So just a few more facts and also a few opinions about Imam Taqi alayhi salam and Imam Naqi alayhi salam. And now we're going to move on to a few sayings that Brother Ali would like to share with us that Imam Naqi alayhi salam shared with his followers.
The one who spends his life in refuge of God world's discomforts will become easy for him. The one who does not counsel with others in his matters will be harmed. World is a bazaar in which one group makes benefit and the other faces loss. Cutting jokes and mockery is the activity and enjoyment of foolish ones.
MashaAllah, thank you very much, and thank you very much for sharing those powerful sayings with us. And they were very, very powerful, and also they can be used as guidelines as to how we should be living our lives, such as the second one which Brother Ali shared with us, which said that the one who does not counsel with others in his matters will be harmed. So this shows that if you're ever in a time of need, then you should try and tell somebody, as they can always help you and try to make matters better. So now to finish off today's topic, Sister Sani will be reading for us another story which will explain an event and also emphasize the piety that Imam Naqi alayhi salam had.
Once Abbasid Khalif was poisoned, so he kept a vow saying that, if I recover fully, then I will spend plenty of money in the cause of Allah. The Abbasid Khalif did not specify the money. When he finally recovered, Abbasid Khalif called for his scholars, informed them about his vow, and sought their guidance on the amount which he should pay so that it should be regarded as plenty of money. He got different answers. One said that he should pay 1,000 dirhams, The other said that he should pay 10,000 dirhams, and the third said that the money should amount to 100,000 dirham. Abbasid Khalif was confused and did not know which scholar's advice he should follow. One of the courtiers, whose name was Hassan, said, "If you allow me, then I shall acquire a correct answer to your question." Abbasid Khalif said to him, "All right, go then and acquire for me a correct answer. If you satisfy me, I will give to you 10,000 dirham, otherwise I will have you whipped." The courtier came to our 10th Imam, Imam Naqi alayhi salam, who was under surveillance. As soon as the Imam Naqi saw him, he said, "You have come to ask me about plenty of money. Go and tell Abbasid it is 80 dirham." When Abbasid Khalif heard this, he asked for a proof. Imam Naqi told the courtier, "Allah says in the noble Quran to his Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, Allah rendered you with victory in many places. When we counted the places of victory, they were 80 in number. This therefore shows that the interpretation of Khathir is 80. When Abbasid Khalif heard this, he was satisfied and extremely pleased. As promised, the courtier was awarded with 10,000 dirhams.
Mashallah, thank you very much, and thank you very much for sharing that story with us. That was very well read, and that story just emphasizes, as I previously said, emphasizes the piety and also explains about the knowledge that Imam Naqi and also Imam Taqi alayhi salam had. So that finishes off the information side of today's show, and now we're going to be moving on to our craft segment. And in our craft segment, we'll be making these origami lions, just to link in with the story that was read earlier about Imam Naqi alayhi salam and his judgment about sending the woman into the cage of lions. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters, and welcome to our craft segment of Future Stars. And I'm your host Alvia Zaidi, and joining me today we have Brother Ali and Sister Sani, and they will be joining in with today's craft of making an origami lion. And previously on the show we were talking about Imam Taqi alayhi salam and Imam Naqi alayhi salam, so that was the information side. So now we'll move on to teach you how to make these. Now, as with all origami that we've done in past shows, you will be needing a square piece of paper, and like this one, and of course the bigger your piece of paper, the bigger the line will be, and also the smaller the piece of paper, the smaller the line will be. So to start off, what you'll need to do is take it into the diamond shape, and what you need to do is take one corner to the bottom corner, and you need to just fold it in half simply. So you're just going to take the top corner to the bottom corner and then fold along the line, like so. And then you're just going to open that up again. And then you're going to be taking the side corner to the other side, and you'll just be folding that in half. And then just folding down the line, like so. And then you're just going to open it up again. And then what you want to do is, as you can see, you have two corners, and this bit's a bit tricky, so make sure to pay attention. And what you're going to do is take the corner and fold it into the center. However, what you need to do is make sure that you don't fold in like fully. What you need to do is make sure that this isn't at an angle, so it's slanted, and you also leave a bit at the bottom, so it's not all the way to the center. But the point has to join up at the center, and you also have the triangle line there. And then the next bit's really simple. You just need to do exactly the same to this side, and you just fold it over so they match in the corner, in the center rather, and you're just going to crease down both of those lines, as you can see there. So you can see they've met up at the center, and it's just above the center point like so. And then what you're going to do is really simple. You're just going to take this top section here and you're going to fold it backwards, like so. And the line should already be there from when you folded it in half. And now it should look like this. Then your next step is to fold the one layer from the bottom. So you have two layers, you have this top one and the bottom one. You're just going to take the top one and you're going to fold it backwards so that there's a little bit, so that they meet up here. So you're just going to fold it into the second layer and then fold it together, crease along the line, and there you have it, a simple lion face. And as you can see, here's the face, and then these are the ears and also the mane along the bottom and the sides as well. So then what you can do is just decorate it. So then here's the one made earlier, and so you just added the eyes and the nose and also the whiskers. And you can just take any pens or pencils, and we have our pencils, so we're just going to add in the features. So my guests are joining in as well. So you just add in your features, and of course you can use colours, you can use pens, this is a great project that you can do with your friends just to make sure that you're learning a few more skills. And then also you could use it to reenact the story that we mentioned earlier as well if you wanted to. And this is a great project to do with your friends. So, and then when you've added in the features, like so, it's finished. So there's mine. You can't see the features very well, but they are there. And then here's the one I made earlier as well. So this one I just did in plain pencil, and this one I used pens and colours as well. So it's a great project for you and your friends. And also, if my guests have done theirs, so there we have Sister Sani's. You can see that one, and mashallah, that's done very, very well. And Brother Ali, would you like to show us yours? Mashallah, that's done really well too. And they look amazing and just like lions. So mashallah, thank you very much for joining in. So now I hope you know how to make these origami lions, and do feel free to remake them at any time, whether you want to do it with your friends or just by yourself. So you can also send us a picture via our Facebook, which the link should be at the bottom. But also, if you want to catch up on any shows that you might have missed, you can check us out on YouTube as well. So that concludes today's show, and I'd like to say thank you very much to my guests for joining in with all the information. They shared with us many stories and also answered many questions about our imams, and then they've joined in with today's craft as well, which they've done very well. And I'd like to say thank you very much to the caller who phoned in, and mashallah, they recited very beautifully. And also thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's show and also know a lot more about Imam Naqi and Imam Taqi alayhi salam. So this was Future Stars. I'm your host Alvia Zaidi. Khuda Hafiz.